urgent, energetic. Simon Armitage opens remains in media res, a technique that drops us directly into the middle of the action. Without any buildup, we are thrown into a combat patrol, and the disorientation we feel as readers mirrors the chaos of the soldier's reality. This desert patrol represents the absolute external power of the military institution. Within this structure, the individual soldier is secondary to the command, operating as a part of a larger, rigid machine. Military conditioning relies on blind obedience, a concept Armitage highlights through collective pronouns. We get sent out, three of a kind, and all of the same mind. These phrases show how the institution merges individual men into identical tools of war. We see this conditioning in a split-second decision. When three soldiers spot a fleeing bank looter, they open fire together on a man who was probably armed, possibly not. During this physical conflict, the moral weight of the killing is diluted. The institution holds the power and sets the rules, which initially shields the individual from a sense of personal accountability. The casual, colloquial language, using phrases like legs it and tosses his guts, stands in sharp contrast to the violent reality of the shooting. This casual slang functions as a psychological defense mechanism. It deadens the soldiers to the horror of their environment, allowing them to ignore the gravity of the event and continue to function. After the looter dies, his body is unceremoniously dumped into the back of a lorry. He is treated as an inanimate object, a piece of debris devoid of human sanctity. In the short term, military conditioning successfully suppresses the soldier's emotional response. It creates a temporary illusion that the heavy trauma can be managed and left behind on the battlefield. When shifting to the domestic sphere, the narrative challenges the societal expectation of peace. We often assume returning home provides a clean break from conflict. The text reveals this failure. Then I'm home on leave, but I blink. The full stop is a caesura, a barrier meant to block out war. Yet enjambment shatters that barrier, bleeding across the line break, allowing violent memories to flood into the present. Physical distance offers no protection. The power dynamic simply relocates from the external battlefield to an internal psychological state. This psychological shift occurs in the real world. Armitage based remains on the testimony of Guardsman Tromans, who fought during the 2003 Iraq War. Armitage wrote this for the 2007 Channel 4 documentary The Not Dead. The project was created to raise awareness about the reality of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, among returning veterans. The documentary and the poem arrived as public opinion shifted toward opposing modern conflicts and recognizing the heavy psychological toll on those sent to fight. Modern warfare created a tragic reality. Soldiers physically survived the crossfire of the state's war, only to be ambushed by their own minds at home. In this poem, PTSD operates as a hostile, occupying force, actively waging war inside the soldier's head. This brain has become a new war zone. The soldier uses military terminology to describe his own memory, stating that the looter is now dug in behind enemy lines. His guilt is highlighted through anaphora, the repeated return to the phrase, probably armed, possibly not. He is trapped in an inescapable cycle. This trauma eventually breaks the poem apart. The rigid four-line stanzas collapse into a final stanza of just 2 lines. Internal guilt wields a chaotic power. It dismantles a person's psychological structure just as effectively as it dismantles the poem's physical form. Grammatically, the collective we disappears by the end of the text. It is replaced by the isolating takeover of I and my. This culminates in the final line, his bloody life in my bloody hands. This is an allusion to Macbeth, where blood serves as a symbol of a stained conscience that cannot be cleaned. The soldier's perspective has been completely altered by his trauma. He moves from deflecting blame as part of a unit to accepting absolute, solitary responsibility. The external power of the military state can force a human to pull a trigger, but the internal power of personal guilt ultimately destroys him.